Hi everyone, Emily here, and today I have for you day 4 of Bookmas. It's actually December 1st, but I'm trying to record a few videos ahead of time since I'll be out of town some this month. Um, so let's just get to it. I am going to unbox day 4 of my advent calendar, and then I'm going to show you a cart with some books that I would like to read, and I'll explanate that cart momentarily. So I'm going to flip my camera. I should note something. I film on my phone and I don't have a tripod for it, so I'm going to try to hold this as steady as possible throughout the entire process. So I apologize for any moving and shaking. All right, so you can see some of my apartment in the background there. Day 4. Trying to open this with one hand and hold the camera steady. What do I got? Mistletoe mocha. Ooh, I'm not going to take that out because I could just see that it's mistletoe mocha. I love mocha. Is there anything? Just notes of luxurious dark chocolate. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. And here is my cart with some books that I would like to read. So I'm going to explain some on these. So when I start the year, every year now, for the last few years, what I do is I have some reading challenges that I like to do. Whether it's Pop Sugar, I've done like a Flourish and Blots book challenge. This year was 52 Book Club, and then I kind of fell apart. But what I try to do towards the end of the year, I take a look at all the prompts and I kind of try to match the books that I own with the prompts. And then I have a bookcase that I use that it's like, this is my TBR from the year. And then, of course, I get taken in by new and shiny things. And so books get moved around quite frequently. So I took this cart to kind of show like, these are kind of some of like the higher priority books for the reading challenges I was doing this year, and then now 50 before I turned 50 and other things. So this is what it looks like now. It will probably change at the end of the year based on the book challenges that I'm going to do in 2025. But for right now, this is what we have. So first, top row, we have Piranesi. I keep meaning to read this by Susanna Clark. I've heard it's beautiful and very just different. Catherine by Anya Seaton. This was recommended at the last BookTube Besties virtual retreat. Same with Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. The Mystery Guest, I really liked The Maid and want to continue reading in that. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I haven't read anything by her, and I've heard that I need to read that first. I keep putting off A River Enchanted, but I really liked the Divine Rivals duology, so I need to pick that up, and I heard it's beautiful. Dragon Reborn. I have read the first 2 books, and then Cosmere kind of has taken over my life, but I do need to get back into continuing on with Wheel of Time. I have all of the books in The Expanse except for one book, and I still need to start reading it. Yikes. The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. I read The Clockmaker's Daughter whenever that came out and was like, I need to read more by her. This I heard is one of her best ones, and this fits for quite a few book challenges. Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Kind of like a modern retelling of David Copperfield. That will fit a couple of book challenges. I'm loosely doing the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, and like you have to do an you have to do like a classic and then a retelling, and this would fit that prompt. It also has a snake on the cover, so that would fit for like some book challenges for 2025 because it's Year of the Snake, and some challenges have snake on the cover. Okay. Then I've got The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. I really liked Station 11, so I need to get back into that world, but I just kind of keep putting it off. How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. I've heard it has a really good amount of snark, so I'm looking forward to reading that. My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I have not seen the series yet. I'm holding off on that, but I've just heard fantastic things about that series. David Copperfield, that fits with Demon Copperhead. The Tropic of Serpents. This is by Marie Brennan. It's like dragons and like set in kind of like a Regency era time period. I've read book one few years ago, and I just need to keep reading. The Lies of Lamora. I really do want to read that series, and I just need to get started. A Gentleman in Moscow. That was supposed to fit the 52 book club prompt, where it was like a book set in a city that starts with the letter M. I've heard really good things about him, have not read anything by him. My Body is Not a Prayer Request. This is a nonfiction. I'm going to pull this out. This is a nonfiction about disability justice in the church. So this is written by a woman with a disability and just her perspective and how churches have treated people with disabilities and how they can do better. Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. This fit for some prompt for 52 Book Club. A Letter to the Luminous Deep. I've heard really good things about that. Cathedral of the Sea. This was like this was a recommendation from the first virtual Bessie's BookTube Bessie's virtual retreat. And basically it's translated from Spanish, and it was like compared to Pillars of the Earth, which I adored. And this is set in Spain during the Inquisition. So definitely this is one of my 50 to read before 50. All the Light We Cannot See. I need to read that so I can watch the adaptation. This Casa Grande. Good. Sorry, I didn't even realize it was not in the screen there. Apologize. Look how vintage that book is. I found this free at the library on like their free cart, and for the hardest reading challenge ever, one of the prompts is read your 3 lowest rated books on Goodreads, and that is one of them. All right. Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I really enjoyed Vicious, and then I've heard people who have said Vengeance isn't all that great, or Vengeful is not all that great, so we shall see. I, Who Have Never Known Men. Gosh, Books with Emily Fox really has hyped that up, and so I do need to read that. Reader, I Married Him, edited by Tracy Chevalier. That is an anthology of short stories inspired by Jane Eyre. That is one of my lowest rated books on Goodreads for the 52 Book Club. Same with whatever this book is. I don't know what this is titled. Maybe it's 5 lowest rated. I don't know. Treasure of the Sun by Christina Dodd. So that needs to get read at some point in time. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I really want to read that book. It's a memoir. She is the woman who was essayed by the swimmer, and everyone was like, oh, that swimmer, be light on his sentence because he just ruined his life. We don't want to ruin his life. And she's like, wait a minute. Like, I am the person who was essayed here. Like, I'm the one who you need to be caring about. And I've heard phenomenal things about it. So I definitely want to read it, but I definitely also need to be in the right headspace for it. Light from Uncommon Stars, that fits a prompt for the 50 for the hardest reading challenge. Same with The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've also heard really good things about that book. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. That I'm probably going to start reading in January because I need to read a book set in winter, and that's primarily set in winter. A Study in Scarlet Women, kind of like a retelling of A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle, but with a female character for our detective. The Shadow Rising. Man, you can tell that I was trying to prioritize Wheel of Time, and that did not happen this year. North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I love the PBS adaptation that came down, the PBS adaptation that came out with Richard Armitage, and I need to read the book. And The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've never read it. I will say this. I started reading Fellowship of the Rings. I'm turning my card around. I started reading Fellowship of the Rings, and it was my first ever experience with fantasy, and I didn't understand quest fantasy is just by nature slow. And we got to Tom Bombadil, and I DNF'd to Tom Bombadil. Yes, I said it. I DNF'd to Tom Bombadil. So, but I need to give it another go. Okay, so here's the back end of my cart. I have Ozium and air freshener because my neighbors like to smoke, and it's in our lease that they are not to be smoking in our lease. So, I mean, things are legal, but in our lease it says that you are not to be smoking in the building, and they do, and it makes me violently ill, so I try to cover the scent. Okay, so moving on. Then I have some books stacked here because they weren't fitting. I don't know how people do their TBR carts where they can get books both front and back, like how my front is. If you know how to do that, let me know because I don't know how to do it and make it fit. Fahrenheit 451. I still have not read that book. I did not have to read it in high school or in college, but I do want to read it. Name of the Wind. Check this out. Okay, signed copy, and I found it for $1 at a used book sale. And yes, I need to read it. Game of Thrones. I read this years ago. I read the first 3 books, and I have never finished the series. I was like, no, I wasn't going to finish the series, so I got rid of my copies. And then I found all 5 books in this mass market paperback. And yes, I know it's mass market paperback, but when I first read it, it was in mass market paperback. But I found it for 50 cents at a used book sale. It's in really good condition. I have one more book here. Mr. Cavendish, I Presume by Julia Quinn. It's also one of my lowest ranking books on Goodreads. So that fits that prompt for the hardest reading challenge ever. Then I've got shelf number 2. So this I'm toying with in 2025, occasionally like picking from there and just being like, I need to read it or unhaul it. It seems to be a popular series on BookTube. I know like Becca and the Books does it, or Becca and the Books does kind of like a version of it. Becca Books and Bujo does a version of it. Books with Emily Fox does it. And I know Emily Fox does it where like each color means like a genre. Mine does not mean any kind of genre. It's just whatever post-it note I had at the time. But the issue that I have is I keep forgetting to put like my newer purchases in there. I just need to do a better job keeping up with that. I think maybe I can't shelve my new purchases until they go in the jar. But I have some purchases that have made it on the shelf. So now I have no idea where I am with that. Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've not read anything by him. And I need to. I've heard this. Oh, shoot. No, we're okay. It came a little damaged. Maybe I'll have that for January too. I got 2 chonkers for January. I don't know how I feel about that. And then Smuggler's Lady, maybe it was 5 books I'm lowest rated. And Unleashing Mr. Darcy by Terry Wilson. I think there probably were like, read your 5 lowest rated books on Goodreads. Whew, that's a lot. And then last but not least, I have this mug. If you know, you know. There's a reason why I got a B mug. Because it's a character in a series that I adore. But so this holds my bookmarks, and I got the mug, and it's a great size. Like, it's an amazing size for coffee, but it's heavy. So that's why it now holds my bookmarks. And there you have it, day 4 of Bookmas and my chaotic TBR cart here. So, and is there anything on here that you think I desperately need to prioritize? Let me know in the comments below. Bye.